For Comedy Hype News, I'm Tatiana LaJoy. There have been many times where comedians have spoken out and revealed their own struggles with depression, alcoholism, and drugs. It seems as though the ones who smile the most and make us laugh on stage are the ones struggling with mental health offstage. This phenomenon has been described as sad clown paradox. Sadly, this is what caused Robin Williams to take his own life back in 2014. There are some performers that have been able to escape the dangers and temptations that drugs and alcohol have provided, even if they were consumed by it from an early age. Family man of the 90s, Tim Allen is one of those comedians who went down a wrong path during his teenage years, but was able to turn his life around for the better. However, for him, it wouldn't be until after he was set up by an undercover cop and was arrested after they found 1.4 pounds of cocaine on his person. Comedic Crime Files presents Tim Allen, Michigan's amateur drug kingpin. Born in Denver, Colorado to Martha Catherine and Gerald M. Dick, Allen was the third born out of 6 children, making him the middle child. In November of 1964, when Allen was just 11 years old, his father was killed after being hit by a drunk driver. This incident triggered Allen, which began his own trials with alcoholism. Surprisingly enough, before his father passed, Allen was already drinking, but the tragedy pushed it full force. After my old man died, I really just played games with people and told adults what they wanted to hear, and then stole their booze. I knew exactly what adults wanted. Make your bed, be polite, use a napkin, and then I'd go steal everything in the house. Then 2 years later, his mother would remarry, which would cause him and his family to uproot and move to Birmingham, Michigan to be with their new extended family that included her husband and his 3 kids. This move also included a switch in schools, where his classmates would often tease him about his name, which forced Allen to use humor as a way to deflect any negative situation he may have gotten. While attending Western Michigan University, where he earned a bachelor's degree in TV and radio production, Allen decided he needed to make some extra money on the side, and he began selling illegal narcotics. Allen continued doing so throughout his college years and shortly after as well. After climbing up the ranks at the in-house advertisement agency at a sporting goods store, he decided to also go back to the easy money made in his early years. Everything seemed sweet until Allen made a trip to the Kalamazoo airport. Allen was arrested with over 650 grams of cocaine, which equates to about 1.4 pounds on his person. Interestingly enough, a month before his arrest, Michigan lawmakers passed the 650 Lifer Law, which was considered one of the harshest drug laws in the country. The law pretty much guaranteed a life sentence without parole for anyone convicted of possessing, delivering, or intending to deliver over 650 grams of cocaine or heroin. The law was actually passed without hearings or any economic analysis. The law was passed to teach people a lesson. Selling more than 650 grams of cocaine got you life in prison. They thought it would be a deterrent. It wasn't. I was put in a holding cell with 20 other guys. We had to crap in the same crapper in the middle of the room, and I just told myself, I can't do this for 7.5 years. I want to kill myself. Tim Allen. When Allen made his way to the airport, his intention was to meet with a man named Michael Pfeiffer, who was supposedly waiting for him with $42,000. Allen chose the airport as the spot to meet after seeing a similar scene on television. This drug deal was like no other for Allen, as the stakes were raised. When Allen and a friend pulled up to the airport, they placed the cocaine in a locker and walked over to where Pfeiffer was standing. Pfeiffer took the locker key from Allen, walked over to the locker, and removed the drugs. It wasn't long before the duo was surrounded by undercover state troopers. Allen was set up by Officer Michael Pfeiffer, who had been following Allen for months. Allen put a brown Adidas bag in a locker and then walked up to Pfeiffer and handed him the key. When Pfeiffer opened the locker, Allen was immediately swarmed and spent 60 days in jail awaiting trial. The next thing I observed was a gun in my face. Allen. Allen admitted to the charges, and when he was brought to court, he approached the authorities with a deal. Allen was going to tell police about his drug contacts in exchange for a lighter sentence. Allen cooperated and told police everything he knew about the Kalamazoo drug scene. As a result, the state agreed to drop the biggest charge against him and allowed him to be sentenced in federal court as opposed to state court. This was done so that the judge would not be bound by Michigan's mandatory life sentence. Allen gave the name of a total of 21 individuals. The judge over his case was impressed with his truthfulness and ended up giving Allen a reduced sentence. Somehow, the judge also heard that Allen had a knack for comedy and performed stand-up, so although he didn't approve of Allen's criminal activity, he did encourage Allen to continue pursuing a career in stand-up comedy. There is a remarkable talent. Don't waste it. Be a man. Do your time. Then come out and do what you do best. I expect you to be a very successful comedian. Judge Patrick McCauley. According to Yahoo News, as he was awaiting sentencing, Allen was very contrite. He began making goals for himself for when he would be released. Allen would ultimately end up receiving a 5-year sentence and only serving a little over 2 years. Allen was sent to a Minnesota facility in order to avoid any enemies he may have made. When he went to jail, reality hit so hard that it took my breath away, took my stance away, took my strength away. Allen. I didn't think they would do that. Neither did my attorney. Then they came hard on me. I knew bad things were going to happen, but I wanted to be able to come out with something. While in prison, Allen continued to hone his craft while making the inmates and guards laugh at his jokes. Allen noted that he got used to it after around 8 months and compared the experience to camp. I don't say this lightly, and anybody who has been incarcerated knows it's surprising what the human being will get used to. Eventually, after 8 months, I got used to it. There were okay times. Saturday, we got better food. Eventually, I went from a holding cell arrangement to my own cell. I just shut up and did what I was told. It was the first time ever I did what I was told and played the game. I learned literally how to live day by day, and I learned how to shut up. You definitely want to learn how to shut up. In prison, Allen developed a stand-up set and felt he got along well with everyone simply because he was funny. He was eventually able to test his material on the outside after his release. While performing stand-up, Allen encountered a few obstacles while performing at local strip clubs, but overall, Allen was flourishing on the scene. So much so, he received a call from Disney, and he was offered the television show Home Improvement, which was based on his stand-up comedy and his love for shop class stemming back from his high school years. Home Improvement became a huge success, but then Allen would find himself in a bit of trouble again in 1997 during the show's 7th season, when he was caught drunk driving by police officers. According to CBS News, his Ferrari was clocked in at 70 miles per hour in a 40 miles per hour zone. Police said his blood alcohol level was 0.15%, above the legal limit. It was also reported that Allen was so drunk he couldn't recite the ABC past the letter O. The Detroit Free Press quoted Allen as he was explaining his situation to the judge. I had 2 Miller Lights on the golf course, and while my wife was having her head attended to, somebody hit her with a golf ball or a golf club and she was bleeding. I went to the men's grill and I had a vodka and orange juice. Then we went up to dinner and I had 2 more, and that did it. After the incident, Allen went back into probation and rehab for a year. Alcohol never affected me like the other guys. I could drink copious amounts even as a young kid. I look back on those things. This is the sober guy stuff. I had so much shame at the things that was okay, especially driving people around. Coming from a dad that was killed that way, it's difficult to get past it. Even with his alcoholism and past extracurricular activities, Allen persevered and went on to have a successful career on screen and stage. After his arrest, Home Improvement would end 2 years later in 1999 after 8 seasons and 200 episodes. Allen made the triumphant transition from sitcom to movies by starring in the Toy Story films, Santa Claus trilogy, among several other productions. Allen even made a comeback to television with the successful sitcom Last Man Standing that ran for 9 seasons between 2011 and 2021. Allen has been sober ever since his 1997 arrest, and it appears that was one misstep on the road to redemption, recovery, and accountability. Stay up to date with the latest news and comedy by subscribing here to our YouTube channel, follow Comedy Hype across all social media platforms, and look out for original content on our new streaming service at comedyhype.com. For Comedy Hype News, I'm Tatiana LaJoy.